Welcome. My name is Stacy Fritz, and we're getting ready to start Food for Thought. So grab your water, grab your tea, come on in. We're looking forward to chatting with you all for the next hour or so on subscription-based nutrition options. My name is Stacy Fritz, and our oncology nutritionist is Karen Shrum. But before I pass the baton to her, I just want to make sure that I share with you as a reminder, believebig.org. I would like to talk about really briefly our cancer symposium that's going to be held on September 13th locally. So what I mean by locally is it will be held in Towson, Maryland. For those of you who are listening, calling in, watching the replay, just because it's being held in Maryland does not mean that you are excluded. We also have a virtual option. So if it's something that you're interested in learning about integrative options, cutting edge information by way of complementary and integrative medicine, nutrition, mistletoe, all things that we are celebrating and trying to get the information to you as quickly and as current as possible. That will happen on September the 13th at our Cancer Symposium. All of the information, the details, the price, everything that you need to know is on our website, believebig.org, and you can feel free to reach out to any of us to get more information. I personally am super excited. You'll see me there with the Vita Ball, and you'll be able to chat with me about patient advocacy or anything you need by way of Believe Big, but we're also going to have some incredible guest speakers. So I encourage you to get on the website, learn a little bit more about it, and sign up early. Looking forward to seeing all of you one way or another in person or online. So I will stop there, and it is my deepest pleasure to introduce a dear friend and colleague, Karen Shrum. She is with Remission Nutrition, and today we get to talk about something that I think you all are going to find really interesting if you haven't already started down the rabbit hole of trying to find a subscription-based service. So that is my first question. If you are on the call and you'd like to put on in the chat, if you are presently using a subscription service, I'd love to know which one you are using. Just go ahead and do that. And in the meantime, I'm going to pass the baton to Karen, and we're going to go ahead and get started.
Yes, happy hump day.
Yes.
And hump is a good word, right? We feel like sometimes getting over the hump with nutrition can be challenging. So we turn to what can make our life a little easier. And obviously, meal delivery services everybody knows about. We all get those coupons in the mail. It's figuring out which one is right for you. So hopefully we'll address that today.
Definitely. And Karen, you know what I really love about the topic that we're getting ready to dive into? I like the way that you have broken this apart. So again, for our listeners who are just jumping on and getting ready to dive into the information, there is a process to this. And we know that it is extremely overwhelming, right? And so what Karen's going to do for us today is to lead us through a process of how to decide if, when, it's possible to do this during the cancering journey. But me personally, for those of us who are not necessarily in the same place, this is great information as well, right? We are going to take a deep dive on something that is trending right now, where we're getting tons of marketing information. Which way do we go, Karen? Which way do we go?
Yep, you go to what is needed for you. That's step one, is what are your nutrition needs? And if you don't know what your nutrition needs, then please talk to a nutritionist. Any nutritionist can help you figure out what is essential, whether that's through testing, whether that's just through a conversation with you, whether that's your lifestyle and diagnosis. All of that can help you figure this out, okay? If you are dealing with a metabolic imbalance, you know that your A1C, your glucose, your insulin are elevated, and you know that's something that needs to be corrected. That affects what nutrition plan you're going to want. If you are dealing with known inflammation, if you're dealing with an immune situation, a suppressed immune system, or an autoimmune system, things that nutrition can really come in and help you support, correct, etc. Okay. So let your situation be the first guidance of what you need to work on first. Obviously, everybody in this community is somewhere along the cancering journey. And whether you are in prevention or in treatment or in remission, nutrition can obviously help you with that as well, depending on what you're trying to correct. So To me, you also then need to say what's really important to me. Organic is pretty darn important. I think we can all agree that you're lessening your chances of chemicals, toxins, pesticides coming at you, which will always benefit your health. So looking for ones that are organic is going to quickly lessen your list.
Mm.
We always get Factor and we always get HelloFresh. We always get those marketing pieces in the mail saying 75% off. Let's go. Just know that those aren't organic options.
Mm.
So if that is important to you, then you can just start already eliminating the list. And I am going to provide a list at the end of this. Some of them are definitely organic, some of them are not. So it gives you some choices there. But to me, that's an important element. Also looking at the packaging. A lot of these, I'm going to use Factor again as an example. They give you well-portioned meals, balanced meals. There's a protein, there's a vegetable, there's usually a starch, but they're packaged in plastic and they're
Mm.
expecting you to take off the clear plastic lining at the top, plop that in the microwave and heat that meal. If we are really concerned about our toxic burden and trying to eliminate forever chemicals and exposure to parabens, if you will, then that's not a smart choice for somebody.
Mm.
Either if that's the only option that's available in your area, then taking that food out of that plastic container, putting it on a plate, or warming it in the oven in a oven safe, non-toxic pan would be an option for sure. So just start thinking about these kinds of things. What do I need it for my health? What is important to me? And then keeping that list, narrowing down your choices.
I think that it's a great step one, because before you even get going, it's understanding this same thing that we've said every single food for thought seminar, is that the answer is always going to be, it depends. And slowing down the process long enough to say the two things I'm going to take away from step one that you just said was, one, what am I trying to achieve? Not the balloons. I don't know why I did that. What is it that I'm going after? What do I need to fix, or what do I need to heal? And then the second one, you just jumped over it, but it's huge. Which one are you going to actually eat and sign up for? So it's one thing to go and buy it, right? So we need to know where
Right.
we are in space. And we also need to say, are we going to commit? Because a
Right.
subscription service is a commitment. And it goes back to, like, when you go and you have these great ideas of buying organic fruits and vegetables, but if they get all slimy in your refrigerator because you don't touch them, that doesn't work. So
Yep.
I like step one. I know our community loves simple because we're overwhelmed. And again, did I miss anything? One, know where you are, know what you're trying to achieve. And then what are you going to agree to are two big things.
Yep. And if you don't know, then seek that guidance.
Seek the guidance.
If and you're not expected to know all of this. If you've never gone down this road of really looking at your labs and your lifestyle and what is wrong and imbalanced in your current situation, find that out. Assess, don't guess. This is Dr. Nasha's big mantra is test, assess, don't guess, and address. So you're not expected to know everything, but you can find out. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Questions from anybody on step one? I think step one's pretty fairly easy to follow. So
Yeah.
moving on.
Or if somebody wants to share what their nutrition goal is, if they have a known, I am trying to correct X, please share that. And we can use that somewhat in this conversation too.
Perfect.
Okay, so the next step is also part one is step one
Yep.
is how often am I looking to have a meal delivery service or support? So if you are in treatment and you know you're going to have a treatment twice a week and that is a drive away and there's no way you can physically wrap around having to go to the grocery store or having to come home and cook because you're going to be really tired, then maybe a biweekly scenario is good for you. If you are like, no, I just fall apart on Sundays and I want something easier, but it's going to keep me on point as far as my goal, then I want something on Sunday that's easier. Are you looking for less grocery shopping, or are you looking for not being in the kitchen at all? So some of the services are, I'm going to send you all these lovely ingredients. You still need to chop and dice and cook. Or am I looking for, I just want to heat it up?
That's good. That's really good because Hello Fresh it's a recipe. It's almost like an interactive experience.
Right.
But for the gal or guy that doesn't like to cook, that ain't going to work either.
Yeah. If you are in the process of, I really want to learn about nutrition, then dicing and chopping and cooking is fun. If you are, I'm exhausted, I'm alone, I live alone, then you may opt for the other. So just keep that in mind. Don't get the dice, chop, cook option if that's not something that you think you're up for.
Excellent point. Ready
Uh,
made, ready made, ready to go, or build it out, but here's your ingredients and you just didn't have to go grocery shopping.
Correct.
Love
Yes.
that.
And then there's fresh or frozen, right? There's stuff you can stick in the freezer and pull as needed at a
Mhm.
whim if you just don't know what your life looks like on a regular basis. That could be an option for you. If you're like, no, I want the freshest possible, totally get it. I would always recommend fresh if you can do that. So there's the ones that arrive very quickly with all the non-frozen, ready to be cooked kind of stuff.
Karen, question, clarifying question. In my world, the order of integrity is always fresh, but then not far behind it is going to be flash frozen. Is that still, would you still agree? That's fine?
Yeah, there's some foods that it just doesn't work for. Let's take spinach. You lose a lot of nutrients when you freeze spinach. So it doesn't matter if it's organic or not. When you thaw that out, you're losing, for instance, a lot of folate.
Huh.
So if you think you're getting a lot of folate from frozen spinach, it's not happening. So again, not expecting everybody to really understand or know that ahead of time, but fresh is always best. That's a saying, right? But again, we do as we can. Is any of this better than stopping at a fast food joint on the way back from treatment? Yes.
Yes.
Is any of this better than grabbing a bag of chips from the gas station with a Coke? Yes.
Yeah.
So, what do you need? Be honest with yourself. What do you feel you can do? Obviously, budget's going to be a part of this as well, but things to think about to help you narrow down your search.
Yeah. Karen, we had Lynette, and I'll agree with her. She just put it in the comments. She didn't know that about frozen spinach, and neither did I.
I know.
I did
Yeah,
not know that.
yeah. And I don't think the majority of anybody knows about it. And
Mm.
that's okay. This is where working with a nutritionist can help you again just simplify things for you and going, I'm going to take this really big bucket and I'm going to narrow down for you to keep it simple. And then you just make decisions off of this, not
Yeah.
this.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
I like that. That's great. That's
The
great.
last bullet here, which I think is something I just want all of us to hang on to through this call, is are we talking truly about a meal replacement like Sunbasket? Or are we talking about, I just want to simplify it and I just want meat delivered? I
Mm.
just want fresh vegetables. And you may not be thinking of either or, but I want you to through this conversation because by the end, you may have a clear picture of what you need.
I
Okay.
love that. And it makes a lot of sense based on what we were talking about before with the proteins, with like butcher bucks. So
Yep.
just making sure that we understand the why behind the subscription. What are we going to sign up for? What is the reason why? What are we trying to achieve? And then knowing, are we somebody that is looking for the convenience of it all? It's already been done. Or is this a supplemental thing, like what we do with the butcher box, and that we just want that grass fed, really good organic
Yep.
meat and whatnot? It's perfect. Love it.
Yep. Yep.
Got it.
You got it. Okay. Step two. Now we're looking more of other deciding factors within this whole process. Always keeping in mind step one, always that's the most important. But when I look at a service, can I find nutritional information easy? Okay. Is there a label there or is it broken down for me where I can make a good decision? If there's no nutritional information easily accessible to you, to me, that means I'm always going to question if this is right for me. So eliminate it. Will they deliver to you? How rural is your zip code? That's going to probably eliminate some of the offerings that are in my list.
That's true because not everybody delivers every place yet.
Correct. Yeah. Because if you're going for super fresh, and it can't arrive in time, then they're not going to deliver to you. Obviously, what's your budget? All these marketing pieces, all these coupons that are out there are only good for your first month of food typically, or your first delivery. So 75% off doesn't last very long. So what does your budget give you that you can sustain? And then how does that go against your frequency that we talked about earlier?
I don't know, because I could make a strong argument. We just went to the grocery store the other day, and I kid you not, I couldn't. It was 4 bags of groceries. Karen, $400.
Yeah. Yep.
$400. And so I'm wondering, I'm curious if we did a cost comparison to what does this really look like in a budget
Right.
standpoint, and knowing what's the price tag on healthy food. There isn't one. And this community certainly knows that, right? And of course, there's always a workaround. And if this is out of budget, we feel confident that we can also, you still got to eat. And so being able to figure out, again, I think what is your budget is a really good one to highlight, because not everybody can support a monthly or a bi-monthly food service.
Right.
However, then it changes the conversation. Okay, if we're not going to do subscription, what can we do?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And I bet you if you aren't receiving marketing in the mail regarding the coupons for these services, as soon as you hop on that site, you're going to get a pop-up window to get an offer. So if you're like, Karen, I'm only getting Factor marketing and you're telling me that's not the best choice, don't worry. I've got links for you later. You can click on those, get those coupons going, and hopefully find some savings there too.
And might I add too, I wonder if you could do a little coupon hopping. So as you're going through all of these, if somebody sees that there's 2 or 3, maybe you don't make a decision at all and you take advantage of the coupon situation and try one month and then another one, and tease it out a little bit.
Yeah, why not? If you have your top 3 and you can't make a decision, do it. Why not? And then figure out which one you like the taste of better and move forward with that. Absolutely. Okay, so this is the point where I'm going to start jumping into some nutritional information regarding the different sites. Okay. Please ask any questions. This is for your benefit of how I look at it, but also what may be confusing to other people. Okay. Cook Unity is a service that you may not have heard of. They don't do the mass marketing by mailboxes, but they have some pretty cool stuff as far as they have AIP, they have Whole Foods. They're on our list. So here's what their nutritional facts look like. I just chose Adobe grilled salmon because I like it. And this tells me not only ingredients, but what the nutritional breakdown is of macronutrients. So depending on what's important to you, we know salmon is an anti-inflammatory food. So if you are dealing with high inflammation, creates that party zone for cancer cells to thrive. So we're typically always addressing inflammation and making sure it's low. So salmon is a staple, okay? Some pros and cons here. One con is the first ingredient on this list, okay? It doesn't say it's organic. We know canola oil is coming from GMO corn. So that to me is an inflammation situation. Third ingredient, brown sugar, not something that we would typically really talk about in the cancering journey. They say it's a canola olive oil blend, and then later on they talk about extra virgin olive oil. That's a little confusing to me. Like they're trying to be healthy, but what does that mean? So anyway, you should look at that and just do exactly what I did. We know that the first ingredient on a list is the most prevalent ingredient in the recipe. So that is also something you should weight is, gosh, do I want that to be the first ingredient? So anyway, the carbs, 47 grams. What we don't know from the nutritional information that they're giving us is how much of these carbs are coming from fiber. That's another con, is you should always know the fiber amount you're going after. An adult should be getting 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day. Well, we know that broccoli has fiber, and that's listed in here. There's some fiber in sweet potatoes, but we don't know how much of that. We don't know the net carbs here, and that's always what we're going after. Is it crazy high in carbs? No, but again, I don't know what the sugar content is because we know there's brown sugar in there. So Cook Unity is on our list, but I really wish they provided more information here. We're missing some things. Fiber, sugar amounts, organic is missing from this as well.
And you have to assume that if it's missing, that means it's not, right? Because they would be boasting that it would be organic, I think, personally. And then the other thing is you got brown sugar and then the agave syrup. And so I think as I scroll down this list, we've got the canola and olive oil, and then it says extra virgin olive oil. It's just like an incomplete, I agree, like it's an incomplete nutritional
Yep.
representation.
Yeah. And if I am really trying to keep my sugars low and my fiber high, is this valuable to me? Where if I just go and I have salmon shipped to me, or I buy it locally, I get whatever vegetables, my favorite one, bam. It's that simple. Don't overthink food. Food should be simple. We got enough to worry about, but if we know we're just getting the salmon and the vegetable and we cook it lightly, roasted, whatever, we're good.
And it brings up a really good point because we get our fish from a place called Rastelli's and it's wild caught salmon. So let's break that down for a second. Let's just say we were going to make this same meal. Is it really a cost savings in terms of time and money and effort when what we're saying is you just said, don't make it more difficult. We're going to grill that salmon. We're going to steam or roast that broccoli, and then we're going to add whatever plain sweet potato. I could make the argument that making it yourself would be a little easier and a lot cleaner.
For sure. You're not putting canola oil on it. You're not putting brown sugar on it. There's several wonderful ways to just quickly put some seasoning on a salmon and slow roast that in the oven, and it's going to turn out beautiful. Keep the paprika, keep the peppers, keep the lime juice. There's really great seasonings at the end of this list.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can keep that and then know that you're still in line with what you're trying to accomplish nutritionally. Yes.
Love it.
Okay. Any questions so far?
No, just Lynette was in agreement about this is a no, but the salmon for sure, yes. And I'm with Lynette. Like I hear you loud and clear. It needed to be broken down a little bit more, but at the same time, this would be a situation where I might look at it and be like, listen, I could still do subscription, but I would do it in the form of just my plain salmon and ordering my organic vegetables.
Exactly.
So being a little bit more of a detective and saying some of this extra stuff, do we really need it?
Correct. Yep, correct. Okay, here's another one, Paleo on the go. We see this a lot in our world. This is an AIP meal that they list. AIP, just to clarify, is autoimmune paleo. This is a very therapeutic nutrition therapy protocol that we use a lot. Okay, it's very clean. It eliminates all of the reactive foods, AIP does. So it's taking paleo and making it even cleaner, if you will.
Is it a newer term? I don't know that I've heard it referenced like that. Is this something newer to the party?
I don't think so. It's been around since I've been doing this. You'll see people that are dealing with an autoimmune disease going down this route if they know about it. Okay. But it's just crazy clean and it's very simple. But here's a service that offers that, which is fantastic because again, it's very specific. So Savory Hash Breakfast Bowl, they do the same thing. They give us ingredients and nutritional facts. We have yams, kale, pork butt, pork belly, olive oil, no clarification on that. And then we have our seasonings. Obviously, it's not organic, but I like all the ingredients here. I wish they gave us a little bit more information.
Is this on your approved list, this paleo on the go?
Yep. Yep. You're going to get a link for this one. Yep.
Have you tried this before? Not this particular dish. Have you tried them?
I have not. When I hopped on their site, I felt like I found a lot of brown food, but they have things like empanadas. And I went, yowza.
Yeah.
But then I looked at it and the empanada is made from cassava flour. Okay. That is, cassava flour is AIP approved. So they're trying to, it feels give quick, convenient, but also maybe possibly some comfort foods for people. I chose this because of the greens. I thought it's got greens in it. It's probably going to be a little bit lower carb than the empanada option. So I wanted to share it with you all. And again, most of these guys, they're going to give you a suggested meal. And then you can go in and go, no, I want this. So there is customization that can happen. And that should have been on my step 2 list. Can you customize what meals you get?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I love that. Especially if you don't eat all the things that are being a part of the offering. Kristen on call said, AIP is what I strive to do one day for a 6-month stretch, but the no eggs would be challenging for her to sign. So I'm assuming that the AIP paleo is there are no eggs because they're considered inflammatory. Yeah.
You know, what's fun is they do a lot of, obviously, animal protein is on AIP. And so you see a lot of animal protein with a lot of greens typically. And that is a safe place to go. Let's take my bison. I'll do a ground beef or a ground bison patty with some seasonings, and I'll put that on a bag of arugula and maybe drizzle some olive oil on it. And that sometimes is my breakfast.
Wow.
So easy again, right? We're talking 3 ingredients.
Tell me,
So
say the breakfast again.
I'll make a bison patty
Yes.
with whatever seasonings. I usually do garlic, paprika, some finishing salts, and then I'll put that on a bed of arugula, and I will drizzle olive oil over the whole thing. You know how I like my tahini. I can make a tahini dress, put it all. So that is simple, easy. It's non-traditional breakfast, but okay. It's
Oh, who
non-traditional.
cares? That sounds amazing.
Yeah. So nutritional facts here, we have fiber listed here. We have sugar listed here. That makes me happy. Total carbs is only 27. We minus that almost 9 grams of fiber. We're even less than that. That makes me happy. So I like this dish from Paleo on the Go. I like the fact that they have AIP approved stuff for somebody who is dealing with an immune issue. They are Whole30 approved. I think they may have a low carb offering as well on their site. So as you dig in there, there's some good stuff here. Okay.
Very simplistic, and note the number of ingredients, which is always a plus for me when there's not this long laundry list of things that you can't pronounce. So that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we jump into that, I just wanted, this is HelloFresh's website. I'm sorry, Sunbasket's website. So I'm just going to click out of that. I'm under meal kits for dinner. This is what it looks like. So before you even sign up or create a membership, you can get a pretty good idea of what they offer. Okay. At some point, it looks like you can start doing a better filter. And they do have a keto option. So for meal delivery services, that's going to be your low carb option. Obviously, they have paleo. You can do all the things that we have to consider over here. And then it helps you do that fine tuning. And then
That's so great, because after somebody works with you and they've decided, yes, I want to go forward, and just using this as an example, being able to do your shopping in a way that is, I would agree that step 1, the thing that was missing is finding the kit that if you have special needs in terms of specialty dietary needs, that this would be one way that you're building off of step 1. We're on to step 2, and we're choosing it based on our specific. I know that things like back to the butcher box, you can change it up every month, whatever you're trying to, in terms of the protein. So this, I think, feel is a really good choice. Have you ever had any food from here?
Yes, this is one of my favorites.
Really?
They're organic. They are super customized options for you. You look over in this left menu bar, they even have breakfast and lunch. I think they're super friendly, super fresh. And
Do they come in the plastic, or do they come in something else?
this is one that you chop, dice, cook.
Okay.
Okay. But I like that mainly because I have the time to do it. And I'm a nutritionist, and I'm always trying to play with food and report back. So I enjoy that part of it, but that's okay for me. So anyway, I think it's still trying to update gluten-freeness here. So we don't really have that, but you can really help Gluten is never part of a plan that we would ever suggest to anybody. So gluten-free is nice to know that there's a service out there that'll take you down that road. Paleo, wheat's not on the paleo diet, certainly not on AIP. So you're pretty safe with paleo as far as gluten gluten and wheat is concerned. But we can open up any of these. Okay, Southwest Asian sesame lime salad, cashew, cucumber, basil, and we can save you more. All right, so it's going to tell us the big words that we probably searched for, how long it's going to take to cook. It's always longer, just know that. And then what's being delivered to you. But this is what you probably want to look at to make a decision, is going down here, 42 carbs, 9 grams of fiber, 23 grams of sugar. Yowza, that's too much. Okay. A child should have 20 grams, no more than 20 grams of sugar.
Yeah, I just knock out those dried apricots and I guarantee that'll bring it way down.
There you go. Yeah. So you can do that. If you are feeling confident that you know what the sugar source is in a recipe and it's coming to you to make, you can just omit that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's our ingredients. Sorry. This is going to tell us everything. So if you're concerned about that, you can look at that and go, okay, yeah, obviously it's the dried apricots here. Is that a natural sugar? Yes. Is it needed for this recipe and this to make this salad yummy? No. Easy to take it out. So looking at nutritional value, looking at ingredients, doing filters, let's say you signed up for Sunbasket and they send you this pasta and you're like, oh, I know that's going to be high in carbs. Then you can quickly switch that out for something lower in carbs. If a metabolic rebalance is what you're going for. Now, it says no sugar added. Yay, love seeing that. There's 7 grams, 67 grams though. You're going high and you're going over low carbness.
And me, I feel like we're similar. I enjoy being in the kitchen. I also enjoy being the detective on getting rid of the things that don't necessarily support good health and clean eating.
Yeah.
If that was a delicious meal, who's to say that you couldn't half that pasta situation and then throw in like zoodles, like zucchini noodles or something like that, you're getting more fiber and then you're taking away some of those starchy carbs that are pushing up that number a little bit. And I feel we talk back and forth and it sounds like, oh gosh, Karen, Stacy, yes, we do love it, but you too can do everything that we're talking about. It's doing reps. Right. Once you get good at this, you get really good at it and you can identify, they blink out at you. Oh my gosh, look at all those carbs in there. And it becomes this thing where you just get really good at the swap or the elimination or the reduction. It doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the way the integrity of the meal is presented, but go smart on whatever it is you're trying to achieve. And for somebody like me, it's the heavy carbs that I'm looking to avoid. It's the large amounts of sugar, just staying in a place of anti-inflammation and clean.
Yep. Yep. And when this label tells you all of the reactive foods that are in here, which is nice. So if your nutritionist said no gluten, then this isn't a good option for you.
What about, go scroll back up there. I feel like peanuts are like the dirty word of our community. Peanuts are not a great source of nut. And it's just fascinating to me. No one situation has got it going on that understands somebody who's on the cancering journey is really paying attention to all these little micro assaults. I'll call them that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what these services are trying to make the food not only convenient, they're trying to make it taste good.
I know. Right. And sometimes our food is it does taste good. It does taste good, but it requires a little creativity.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But they tell you that. And again, I'm pulling this up because pasta is not something that I would suggest because of the gluten and the high carbness, but it may pop up for you on your meal plan and you're like, okay, I'm going to swap that out. You mentioned to me, sorry, I'm waiting for this little bar to go away.
Along with that lovely glass of white wine. Can I have that too?
Yeah. There's a little chimichurri up here. You can barely see it, but that's yummy. You mentioned farmers.
Oh, I have big opinions. You go first.
Okay. So this is everywhere right now, right?
Yes.
There's some positives. It's
Yep.
organic, it's fresh. They're utilizing ugly vegetables, things that can't be
Love it.
sold in the grocery stores. I love that too. So I like the things they're selling. But again, looking at what your nutritional needs are, is it a fit? Okay.
Mm.
For some reason, because probably I've been looking at Farmer's Juice, it's now in my social feed and they are touting protein. And I cannot find that product. I can't find it. They're saying that they now have a protein offering. It is not on their website as of today. So the things that I want to highlight here are there is no protein in any of the drinks listed on their website. There is sugars and there's no fiber.
Mm.
When you juice, you are emitting fiber from a vegetable. Does it make it highly absorbable? Yes.
Yep.
But isn't that's one of the problems? Okay. So I'm going to swap back to my slide here. Juicing has three negative components to it. One is you simply need fiber. Like I was saying, 25 to 30 grams for an adult person is your daily requirement.
Yep.
We already struggle with that.
Mm.
That. And if you ever said, that's my only focus tomorrow is 25 to 30 grams of fiber, you would be amazed
Yep.
at obtaining that number. Okay. So we just need fiber. We need it for gut health. We need it for metabolic health. You eliminate that with these juices. Number two is when you eliminate it, you are then quickly absorbing whatever that juice is. It's a carbohydrate. No matter how you break it down, no matter if you say I'm lowering the sugars, it's a carbohydrate that's converting into glucose. So there's a chance if you're just drinking this by itself, you're having a blood glucose spike. And what does that mean? That means there's more glucose in the blood that can travel to a cancer cell.
Yep.
Okay. So we don't want that. Nobody wants that. Three is, I think, super important is what we're trying to do in juicing is we're going over those antioxidants. We're trying to get as much antioxidants as we can. Okay. A raw vegetable you're going to absorb 5% of those antioxidants. In a cooked vegetable with a healthy fat, you're going to absorb 95%.
Say that one more time. Say the formula again.
Raw vegetable, consuming a raw vegetable in any form, you're going to consume 5% of those antioxidants.
Yep.
Consuming a lightly cooked vegetable with a healthy fat, you will absorb 95% of those antioxidants.
I think that is a really huge highlight moment for all of us. And the reason why, Karen, is because I believe it's Chris Wark who has put out all the information about juicing. He has quote unquote cured his cancer and whatnot. I'm not picking on him at all. I'm just, and again, the balloons, I don't know why. I don't know what I'm doing. But at any rate, I want to pause here because this is a big implosion on a conversation that we have with many. And I'd like to share with you really quickly what happened to me with my Farmer's Juice subscription. I did pay for that for a while and I bought the keto. So the one that's got, I think 6 grams, 8 grams of sugar, whatever, the lowest one, all greens. And I always felt, especially after I worked out, as a hydration, and I looked at it like a little bit like an insurance policy, like you were saying, making sure I got the antioxidants in there. Now, what happened is my big toe started to hurt. I don't know if I told you the story. Anyway, my big toe started to hurt. Now, I'm not a red meat eater and I'm not a heavy drinker. And all the little assaults that we talk about with gout, I was having gout symptoms for sure. Went to the doctor and lo and behold, it was the intense. I drank one of the keto juices every day and my potassium went through the roof. Long story short, it tends to be related to kale and spinach, these oxalates, I believe, they can mimic the symptoms of gout. So I can no longer drink that juice the way I was drinking it. However, because people are so pulled in the direction of juicing and doing X, Y, and Z to make sure that you're healthy, the skin, cancer, whatever it is, I have started occasionally using that keto juice as my base for my smoothie. Why? Because I am able then to add in my fiber, again, trying to pay attention to the fact that I'm trying to get good stuff in without that blood glucose spike. After
Yeah.
listening to you, I feel like I don't even want to do that anymore. I don't even want to do that anymore because based on if there's not really the nutritional bang for my buck, I'm just adding something for the sake of not a good. I guess what I'm trying to tell people is that this is the reason why you have to understand why you're doing what you're doing, because I'm thinking now that using it as a base is probably, I should probably go back to the coconut water with no sugar.
Yes, let's say you are working on a metabolic imbalance and you start every day by drinking one of these bottles of juice.
Yeah.
Yowza. You're waking up and immediately spiking your glucose. It's a lot. I left this research paper in here because this talks about that, the antioxidants and how it's a fat soluble and that we need to cook it with light fat to
Yep.
absorb it properly. So I just wanted to provide that.
For our listeners, let's bring it all the way home. Karen, I'm putting you on the hot seat.
Yeah.
For our listeners, is it a hard no, or is it a be very selective and occasionally? What would be your generalized recommendation about juice?
Juice.
It's going to be a
I
no.
would say if you are saying this is the only way you can get it in, and to me, you're juicing at home, that's a process. You are using a machine, you're prepping vegetables in a certain way, you're cleaning that machine every day. That feels overwhelming to me. Just eat the vegetable and cook
Just
it
eat the vegetable.
with fat.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You
if
heard
you're
it here.
saying-
Karen said, just eat the vegetable. Don't drink it. She
That's
she was
right.
trying to be nice, but I'm telling you straight up,
Right.
she's saying, eat the vegetable. Don't drink.
It's easier. If you're saying, but Karen, the only way I can get these vegetables in is if I do farmer's juice, then eat a protein and fat prior to drinking that juice. That
Interesting.
number one carb rule, never eat a carb by itself. Always eat it with proteins and fats. So you have to follow that. If you're like, I'm in the car all day and this is the only time I can do it, then that would be my advice is
Yeah.
number one carb rule.
And I think that you have just hit on something that we were talking about before the show started, is that this is the reason why I'm so passionate about having people like you support us in our community, is that if you listen to mainstream media, even as far as the source that I just told you, how do you weigh? Karen Shrum said, eat the vegetable, don't drink the juice. But then you've got somebody else who is touting juicing. I feel like an important conversation of understanding step number one. Step number one is going to be your compass on how you're going to make these decisions, because we don't want to attack and say all juice is bad. But however, understand that when you drink the juice, this is what's happening.
Exactly. Absolutely. Any questions regarding that? Okay. This is my last slide. And we overthink food. Some of those meal delivery services make those recipes that you chop, dice, and cook pretty complicated.
Right.
Honestly, do not like reading recipes. I'd rather just do it. Okay. So if we can just think about simplifying food, nobody is asking anybody in this community to make a gourmet meal. Okay.
Yeah.
What we're doing is trying to say high quality, use nutrition as a healing source. So maybe just taking a step back from these meal services and going, if I shop locally, whether it's at a farmer's market or I get to know a farm or I get to know a rancher, and I start sourcing my food directly from a high quality provider, would that be an option? So even if you're in rural America, is there an organic, grass-fed, grass-finished, pasture-raised farmer in your area that you can just buy directly from and not have to worry about grocery stores?
I love that.
Farmers markets, here we are dealing with all the tariff stuff and what grocery stores can get and what they can't, and the egg issue and all the stuff. Go support your local farm. Maybe this is where we need to be right now.
Agreed.
Keep them afloat. Okay. And then look at the macro delivery stuff, Butcher Box, CSA. CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. Okay. So can you get vegetables in a box, pick them up, delivered? That's what that means. You're going after your vegetables in that way. Thrive Market. They have a beautiful offering of organic things. So this could be your fat source. You go and get your beef tallow and your olive oil and your coconut oil. And
That's an online, for our listeners, that's an online service that you can get on there and order some of these specialty items, have them delivered. I believe it's a subscription as well, right?
it is. It is a membership, an annual membership, but you get really good pricing on organic things.
Mm.
Yes. I just wanted to share these Cosmic Greens is at my local farmer's market. They provide beautiful sprouts
Oh,
and
do they deliver too,
they
Karen?
deliver and they deliver vegetables on top of their sprouts. I buy their sprouts for them because they have the type of broccoli sprouts that are 70% higher in anti-cancer phytonutrients.
What is that called?
Glucoraphanin. I can send it to you.
I
But
didn't know, but they just deliver to Colorado or they deliver everywhere?
yeah, they're local. Cosmic Greens is, but this is what I can find locally. I'm supporting a local business. I'm nutritionally benefiting.
I love that.
I stick these in my smoothies because they're so darn tender. I don't taste them. They're more potent than kale. So this is a good smoothie option. This is a good sprinkle these on anything. So think about you may have this offering in your community that could be explored.
I love that. I want a cosmic green. And now you're gonna make me go down the rabbit hole of finding one in Maryland. Let's
And
get on that. We need to find a cosmic green in Maryland.
do it, do it. And it's easy to grow microgreens yourself. But if you don't have time for that, I get it. It does exist out in the world. This is what we talk to clients about is eating raw and cooked. So you don't have a whole lot of time, make a big, beautiful salad, just like Chris Work would say, right? His big giant salad. There's nothing wrong with that. Make sure there's protein, make sure there's fat and enjoy. And then have cooked for dinner or vice versa. Mix it up. When you have a raw vegetable, you get vitamin C. When you have a cooked vegetable, you get those antioxidants. Do you need both? Absolutely. So there's no wrong answer. Variety is the spice of life. And then keep dishes simple. Like we were saying, bake your salmon fillet that may be big, that can provide you multiple meals. Have your vegetable, have your healthy fat. Don't think you have to have this amazing meal that you would find at a restaurant. That's not your goal here.
That is unbelievable. I'm hoping that the folks that listen to this replay and that are on live, I very much like how you decompress a very charged conversation, because by the time we start talking about nutrition on the cancering journey, I think the whole process in general, as we were discussing, is overwhelming.
Yeah.
And the best takeaway from this topic, I feel, is that we get overwhelmed with the number of choices. But if we can bring it back to what you said and understand a high quality organic vegetable source, a high quality protein source, and then understanding what kind of healthy fats support that, I think that's such a great way to build out. It doesn't matter if you end up geeking out on the nutrition, just to have the foundational layer of a good piece of grilled salmon, a great broccoli choice, a little bit of the salmon's going to give you that healthy fat, but using a really high quality olive oil to finish it off. I just feel like we're now to the stage in this nutritional series that we can start talking about go easy, go simple, get started, pick one that interests you. You like the vegetables, let's go there. You like the protein, let's go there. I just think that it's so many different ways to open the door without feeling like you got to throw up your hands and be, I'm just going to go back to eating the way I did, because according to Naisha and you all and everything that we've learned, had the pleasure of learning from you all, is that the nutrition is a definite supporter of the internal terrain, and we not look at that in order to keep the garden without weeds.
Yes, absolutely. Amen.
Yeah.
You just have to, and like you said, this month, maybe look at beef or animal protein delivery or local sourcing. And then next month, figure out your vegetables. What's the best option for you? Nobody expects to have everything figured out the next day and have it all perfect. That's not what this is about.
Hi, Trudy. It's so nice to see your beautiful face. If you'd like to come off mute, I'd love to for you to say hi to all of us. And if you have any questions, please.
Hi, it's good to be here
Great to see
today.
you.
One thing I did when I was in school, I studied nutrition and I taught nutrition before they start pulling it out of schools with wood shop and all of that. And now I find myself in a situation where tumors are present in my body and thinking, what did I not do that I knew prior to the situation? And one, I outsourced my meals in the sense that you work, you come home, you buy cooked food, not McDonald's, but certain culturally cooked foods. And listening to what you were saying today about the seed oils,
Mm,
about the added, and I am like, why was I so focused on getting my job done and not getting my meals input correctly? So I decided I have to start from scratch, go back to what I know. Just a little bit confused about two things. I looked at the Gerson therapy
mhm,
first, realizing that I need, maybe they had help back in the day for all those preparations for the amount of coffee enemas. I can barely get one done in a day. And the juicing. I
mhm.
have the juicer. I end up buying a different juicer because is this healing or is this work? And I am trying to figure out why is it that health it became a full-time job, realizing that we have to move through a landmine of toxicity and try to evade this bomb that they have here hidden for us in the form of some sort of the process, something, sugar, oil, toxin. Now with the Gerson, they say no meat. I listened to Naisha, and she is, they're going like ketogenic with meat.
Mhm.
They're okay, no sugar for growing the cancer, but then there's glutamine that you have to watch out for. And I'm like, okay, fast. You're a female. Don't fast that much. Intermittent fasting. Now I look at the juicing, what I do, and I totally relate to the oxalates and stuff. And I listen also to what's his name, Dave Asbury
Mm,
as well. I started out with the biohacking thing, and I don't know what I would have done. I just accidentally found out that you got one, two, three tumors in your body with several sizes because I did a scan, one of these scans that they say to do. So my thing is, it's going to be the either one or half of that green tart apple with without the oxalate rich. The
yeah.
way the Gerson therapy is the lettuce, is the various colors of lettuce. It's just a few beet leaves and different things. I have that recipe, which is different from the other things I see that they're putting out now with so much high sugary fruits. And I get the salad, so I think I got some information that helped with some clarity, making it simple in terms of, okay, this is your meat, this is your fish,
Yeah.
this is the type of oil or fat that goes with it, and just keep it simple.
Trudy,
And
I love what you were. It sounds to me like you're just reinforcing what Karen and I are talking about, that it is becomes
yes.
overwhelming. First, I want to say one thing to you. You have done a great job. And so you're not going to look in the rear view mirror on what you could have, should have done. What
Mhm.
you are going to do is all that beautiful knowledge that you have gleaned all those years ago, you're going to
Mhm.
take Karen's information and you're just going to up level or upgrade like Dave Asprey, which by the way, he's not on the cancering journey. You know, the biohacking thing is the biohacking thing. The Gerson therapy is the Gerson therapy. And then there's the program that is the best for healing Trudy.
Yeah.
I love that you said that you're going to take away a couple of nuggets, but just please know if you want direct access to Karen, this is a great place for us to wrap it up. I'm happy,
Sure.
and Karen's going to give you her contact information in just a moment, but keep going, beautiful lady. It sounds to me like you've got a ton of knowledge and you're going to put it in place and just dust off those old books and just re-engage wherever you are right now, because
Yeah.
it's not too late to start and it's always a great place to keep going, right? So
Yes.
thank you very much for your feedback. For everybody
You're
else, I
welcome.
just want to say thank you for joining us. And Karen, before we go, please tell everybody how they can find you. Of course, we will put it in the show notes.
Yes, and also in the show notes that we didn't cover is language you could use for a meal train. So if you have people who want to support you by providing meals, family, friends, neighbors, there's some nice language in there to help you guide them because they are trying to love on you and they want to do a good job. So help them support you nutritionally with some of this language.
Kristen, let's really highlight that because I think Karen hit the nail on the head. For everybody who loves on somebody who's on the cancering journey, we also want to teach them because we don't want to assume that it's just us doing the thing, making the meals. So I love that we're going to have the language on how to tell somebody who wants to help that if you want to help, this is how I would appreciate your help. I think
Yeah.
that's awesome. So tell them again how they can find you.
Okay, remissionnutrition.com is all you need to know. You can find my bio, you can find my email, you can book, you can look at other videos, especially ones we've done with Food for Thought. They're up on our website. You can find all kinds of information, contact information. So that's it.
And speaking
Remission.
of which, the next time we're together, you must tell us from your bio, kayaking with whales. I read it. I want to know what that's all about. And you can tell us next time.
And we'll talk about hidden bad seed oils at the same time. How about that?
Perfect. Perfect. I love you all very much. Praise to him. Praise to him. And I'm so grateful for all of us who've been on the call. I'm grateful for those who are going to listen after the call. And I will see you next month. Keep believing big. Take care.